All right, trying out a new technique for a Real You Adventures hike. Solo on this one, but there was lots of choppiness, instability going on, shakiness, motion sickness. uh, so I downloaded an app that has like a stabilizer filter thing. So we'll see if that works. And then I'm also thinking of shooting the sky on these. I don't know if that's gonna come across good or not. Also ordering a gimbal that stabilizes a phone as you walk. I'm learning all this new tech stuff as I venture on this creative journey of creating a YouTube channel. It's kind of fun, actually. The big thing that I'm learning is to just keep going, because I think what we do is we start something and then we realize, oh, this could be way better than it is, and then we might get discouraged or we get negative feedback, and that like naysaying or self-doubt, I think, gets in our way a lot from like pursuing things that we really might want to pursue, and or it kind of tells us maybe we shouldn't pursue this because our motives might be egoic. Because if we're basing what we do on other people's negative or positive feedback, then we're totally at the mercy of our fragile ego, versus more of a deep motivation out of like real excitement and joy and just passion and aliveness of whatever that activity is. And then it doesn't matter really what people say back, or your own self-doubt, because you're motivated by a deeper drive. And I find that very, very interesting and very empowering. And it's cool to notice those things in my life that have stuck with me since I was young, because those things probably are the things to lean into more. Those things, that I was excited about when I was young and have stuck with me. So for instance, doing Real You Adventures, that just has never gone away. Like, it's always been on the peripheral. And so again, with this time to be creative, it's just a really cool time to dive into it. And and I've really loved getting involved with people to go on these hikes with. Like, I'm like looking forward to like, oh, who can I go on a Real You Adventure hike with next? Or we're talking about maybe getting on a kayak or a paddleboard, or just any kind of not super extreme outdoor thing, but just a friendly outdoor activity. And then we have a genuine conversation about whatever. And it like, I don't know, that's exciting to me, because that's where I thrive, is really connecting with somebody and in freedom freedom from having to put up a front or try to pretend to be something I'm not, because that's exhausting. But I'm excited to see if this works with the facing the sky thing. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things ahead of us, a lot of scary things, a lot of everything. This world is a roller coaster, and it is pretty low energy as far as kind of an animal nature of how we treat each other. But I do have hope that we are all getting better, getting more aware, getting more thoughtful about our actions and how it affects ourselves and other people and the world. And I am optimistic that our thought patterns are going to be on a better frequency. And yeah, the whole thing about this being something that's affecting all of us, I think, is really uniting us. What is that like? If once the world has a common enemy, then we'll all unite. Seems to be what's going on. But yeah, I'm really noticing that I have to face mental challenges, things that I could have distracted myself with work before or whatever. I have to really look at. So I'm sure a lot of us are going through that. I would just encourage that that's trying to tell you something, but there's a deeper truth under there. It's just trying to lead you down what may seem like a dark path, but if you keep going with it in a healthy way, you might find a treasure or a solve, or like the lotus flower growing out of the mud. Might be just ready to bloom. I don't know, some weird metaphor like that. Yeah, but I'm excited for whoever I do the next Really Adventure walk with. I'm trying to figure out the tech to do it through a phone call. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. So it may just be me, boring old me, walking through the trails here. But at least it's something. I know also once you start something that you're excited about, it's good to keep doing it because it builds the momentum of it. And yeah, just keep learning new things every day, how it can get better, and accept that it's not going to be perfect. But again, if you just have the joy and passion for it, that's the fuel, as opposed to this kind of pie in the sky standard that will never be met, because things will never be perfect. It's like chasing the carrot. It's good to strive for that, but if that's your fuel, you'll always be let down. At least I've noticed that in my own life. So finding the fuel within, that's like, yeah, this is just fun to do. If you talk to anybody who's quote unquote successful, they're like, I don't know how I ended up here. I was just having a good time. So something to challenge ourselves with is, hey, what's something that you're just excited about doing? I was talking with Jill yesterday, and I said, if you had $1 million, what would you do? And she's like, as all of us, pay off my debt, my school loans, buy a house in the country. And then she wanted to start a nonprofit to teach kids, young people, how to cook, like an after-school program, because she feels like a lot of kids these days just don't even know basic skills like that can be pretty important to know. And also it could be a passion of somebody's, because cooking is a vocation, a career. And so, oh man, it's getting pretty crowded with the bushes right here. Okay. Yeah, so she just was like, that would be really cool to do. And I was thinking, well, why don't you just do that, when things kind of get back to normal, just volunteer at a local high school, see if you can use one of their classrooms to teach cooking, volunteer and do it. And because I think it doesn't have to be an either or with these activities that we do in life. It can be a yes and. Like, yeah, we gotta pay bills, and well, yeah, now's a weird time to be talking about that, sorry. But I think it's good to really just do something that excites you, even if it's just a 5-minute thing, and it's not like this big, huge, I don't know, thing you're gonna launch and it can't be released until, or you can't do it until. Just lean into whatever it is, even if it's just a little thing, because like any big, oak tree or whatever started with a little tiny seed. So let your seed grow. Let it grow. That was true for me with running. Like, I started running maybe like a mile a day, and I was like, oh man, this feels great. And then I had the Nike Plus Run app, and one of my friends saw it. She's like, on my phone, she's like, oh my gosh, you got the Nike Run Plus app. Let's totally do a challenge. I was like, a challenge? You could do challenges on this thing? And she's like, yeah, let's do 100 miles in a month. And I was like, yeah, right. There's no way I can do 100 miles. No way. And so we did it, and I got to the 100-mile mark, and I was totally like shocked, almost like, wow, that was possible. And then I was thinking, well, if I could do 100, what if I went for 200? And again, this wasn't like the next month, this was further down the road. And I hit 200, and that was like, geez, that was a big deal. And then I like entertained the thought of 300. And then eventually one month I did 300. And this isn't, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. I'm just saying it as a way of like, the potential that we could reach is way more than we believe at the moment. Like, there's no way, like 10 years ago, if you said, Jason, one day you're going to run 300 miles in a month, I would have been like, no way. So it makes you curious, like, geez, what, 10 years or 20 years from now, are you maybe going to look back at yourself and be like, you know what, said person, whoever, insert your name here, you're going to blankety blank blank, and you're right now going like, yeah, no way. That's kind of exciting, like our potential. And if we just lean into that little seed, where that could go could be really amazing. And what's cool about that too, it's usually in par with something that you enjoy, something that brings you alive, and something that helps other people. If those two things are in line, you can't lose. Like, the momentum and the fuel will just keep going, as opposed to I don't know, different motives. Like if it's all for yourself, for selfish ego reasons, or fear, scarcity, to be better than others, or whatever, or you're playing the victim of others, that stuff is not sustainable. But if you really are authentically like, man, what brings me alive? And it doesn't have to be something you do every day. It doesn't have to be something that's your career. It's just something that you can just start, even if it's just a minute. Just lean into it, and it'll start to grow, and then eventually it'll just overwhelm you with a good kind of overwhelm. Like, it'll just be a big, huge part of your life. And that's an adventure to experience, and no one is exempt from having that opportunity. I don't think there's no way. Well, maybe I'm speaking what I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's not true. Depends on your circumstance, for sure. Sorry, I stumbled over my words there. It depends on your circumstance. I do believe, though, we have helps. I hear about people in prison or concentration camps, POW camps, these stories of people that have found peace, inner peace, on like a spiritual kind of level, and are able to still, I don't know, feel alive, feel that frequency of love, and be able to kind of express that and be in it. So I don't know, I'm kind of trailing off here, but you get what I'm saying. These are just my honest, real you adventure thoughts. That's what else I'm noticing is, like, with this podcast is, like, by definition, I get to just be myself. Like, here I am. Then it helps me to just keep going, keep talking, and really recover from jumbled words or mistakes, or thinking negative about, oh, I said something stupid, or it's boring, or nobody's going to listen to it. Well, that's not the point. The point is just to engage with the adventure of the real me, and express that. And then if other people benefit from it, they do. Or if they don't, whatever. That's not the point. I hope they do. But it's all about the adventure of it, right? But I am excited if anybody wants to go on one of these journeys with me. I've done it one-on-one already. I've also done it in groups. Obviously we can't do it in groups right now, but just thinking ahead, my friend Michael Hayes, we're talking about doing something in India next year. He's got a nonprofit over there. And so, yeah, just excited. Did that sound pretentious? I don't know. Whatever. It's just what's happening. yeah, I'm on a new trail here. So, I wanted to also talk about capacity, the capacity to receive. If you think of your mind or your soul as a radio receptor, um, it's a matter of tuning into a frequency that you have the capacity to receive. Because I know in my life there's times when everything, like I only see the negative, or I'm in a depressive state, or I'm angry, or whatever, and I can't see the beauty or the goodness or the excitement or the aliveness or the love or all the just the beauty of everything. And it's frustrating too. Then you beat yourself up for beating yourself up, and you're like, well, why can't I? But I think it's really about, well, what am I tuned into, and what habits in my life are tuning me into certain frequencies that maybe aren't beneficial for me or others. And so then I have a choice there. So what do I need to change in my life so I'm more able to tune into a frequency that is more beneficial for myself and others? So that could be, through diet, through exercise, through substance. That's a loaded topic, but I think just each of us knows deep down the choices that we're making that may need to be adjusted to better tap into a healthier frequency. And you're responsible for it. I'm responsible for it. That's our choice. And Jill and I were talking yesterday too. It's like we have dyslexia, but we haven't let it define us. And then I asked, well, what defines a person? And she said something really cool, that it's not what we have that defines us, like I have dyslexia or whatever. It's what we choose to do with it. So it's really our choices that define us. So our response, unconscious or conscious, to whatever's going on with us biologically, emotionally, physically, in or around us, with family, with city, with community, with the world, with this virus, how we choose to respond to it defines us. And I thought that was really cool. I really liked that idea. So with that, I think each one of us knows ourselves the best. Like, I can't tell you the choices to make. Nobody else can tell you the choices to make. You're the best one to know what choice you need to make. So that's really powerful. And for me, that's powerful too, because if you know me, I have a problem making decisions. It can take me forever because my mind is like a web. Like, I see all the variables and I try to put all the variables together and calculate the best choice. And then I get paralysis through analysis, and I'll just be like, frozen in my life journey, just trying to make a choice that could be, what's the best mouthwash? That's just a silly example, but picking classes for college was really hard for me because I was like, I wanted the best route. Like, I'd sign up for all these classes, and in the first week, I probably changed classes 6 times because I was calculating the best route to take. But then when it comes to helping somebody else out through college, I can figure out a best route for them and then just help them out and give it to them. Or with other companies, I can solve problems really, really well because I just naturally see all the variables. But when it comes to me, I I take way too long. So I'm learning though that I have to be better at that. I have to be more engaged with my own life and making decisions and being okay with them, and really be okay with making mistakes, and picking myself back up and keep going. I tend to want to do things perfectly, and then that keeps me from doing things, because that idea of every step is perfect is not really realistic. I think not taking steps is the mistake. But taking every imperfect step the best you can is quote unquote perfect, or the way to live a more perfect life. At least just living, going for it. It's going to be silly, it's going to be messy, but at least you're walking, at least you're taking the steps, as opposed to just standing there not engaged. And I could speak to that because I've spent a lot of time in my life doing that, living in anxiety, living in fear, living in doubt, living in, oh no, it's not gonna be good enough, or this isn't good enough for somebody else, or whatever those silly things we tell ourselves. But I think the real, just going for it. And I've heard this saying recently, sometimes we need to slow down to speed up. So this is kind of a cool thing in our world where we're all slowing down and we're really looking at, hey, what really motivates me, what really drives me in a healthy way. And then now we can take a step towards that without fear, without too much anxiety, without too much self-doubt, because we're motivated by kind of an excitement, energy, an excited energy, an alive energy, a creative energy. So that's where I am right now, feeling a lot of momentum with this podcast. Feel like everyone's going to be better, learning all this tech stuff. And so I'm also starting a move. I had the Move Your Body Every Day thing for a while on Instagram, but now I'm changing. I think I'm changing it to Move Every Day. I'm starting a YouTube channel with that. It's just going to be focused on health and fitness. So I'm going to have an Instagram and YouTube for that, and a Facebook. I'm also going to make an Instagram with this, kind of two separate things. Just learning just to go for it. So I'm going for it because these are things that I'm passionate about, and I think keep me accountable to keep doing these creative things, staying in line with that. So thank you so much. You're all awesome. Peace and love. Okay, bye.